everyone. We are back with another episode of Life and Law, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Gigi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and be able to talk to you.
Thank you so much again for coming. And do you want to just start with giving a little intro, a little bio about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Gigi. I am Dominican and I'm also a United States citizen. I had a relationship with a person in the military. We never married, and he never was able to declare my son. And I had custody of him the whole time informally because I never went to court. And one day he just brought me a demand saying that he wanted full custody. And from that time and on, my life's been absolutely hell.
And what year was it when he first served you with that demand?
So my son was born in 2020, and he did that in uh, July 2023.
And what state did this happen in?
It happened in South Carolina. That's where I met him, and that's where our baby was born.
And what county was the court in that he dealt with?
Charleston, Charleston County.
Charleston County. And so when he first gave you this filing, did he go and get something from the court ex parte? Did he have his lawyer file something and the judge granted it and then he served you?
So yeah, that's a really good. So he did. So he served me with an ex parte, like an emergency hearing, which meant I only had basically 2 days to find a lawyer, and I wasn't able to find a lawyer that fast, and I wasn't able to attend the hearing. And when I missed the hearing, they basically gave him custody out of nowhere. He wasn't even confirmed to be the father, like he wasn't even in the birth certificate yet. And they basically gave him my son, and he took him all the way to Germany, where I didn't have access to him for almost a year. And I had to live day by day, and that was like torture for me because he was so young. He was only 2 years old, and I literally wanted to be with him and take care of him, but he took him away. Then when he comes back, instead of coming back to where we were living in South Carolina, he went back to Ohio, which now that gives me a lot of distance between us again. So it's like he's been alienating me from his life.
And this original ex parte that he used to take your son, was it just based on false accusations? Did he just make accusations without proof and the court granted it?
Yeah, so he basically went over there and said that I was homeless, that I was an illegal immigrant. He said that I was an alcoholic. So all of those things were debunked, and I still don't have my son back with proper time till this day. I went through a test for alcohol, for drugs, 3 times. Every time it was clean. I went through my bank account, and at the time, I had savings of $65,000, and I was able to prove that. So I wasn't homeless. A homeless person doesn't have $65,000 in a bank account, and I was able to prove that I had that amount of money when he said that I was homeless. And the other thing that he said is that I was an illegal immigrant, but I can show you my naturalization certificate. That means that I was always a legal resident, and he knew that. He knew I had a green card and I had permission to work and stay in the country. And he went to the judge and said I was an illegal immigrant. So he put me over there in front of the eyes of the judge like somebody that was dangerous. And he believed him. He just granted him everything without asking me or proving or analyzing anything. So they gave me 30
And
days
so,
to give my side of the story, and my first lawyer just stole the money and did the wrong thing. So that really delayed everything.
and so how much money did you pay that lawyer that didn't help you?
That lawyer was $25,000.
So you gave her $25,000, and what did she do, if anything?
The only thing I can tell you that she did is she filed the wrong thing. And after that, she didn't do anything else. She had me thinking that she was working on my case for 9 months. And after 9 months, I was like, we're not moving anywhere. Why don't I have any visitations or nothing with my son? And she was like, oh, because he's in the military and I'm just waiting for him to be back from Germany. I was like, hold on, why didn't you tell me this for 9 months? You literally, you never said that you weren't working on my case because he's in Germany. You know where his lawyer is at. His lawyer is literally 20 minutes from her. So she could serve that lawyer's the paper and get the case moving. But it's like everybody was making everything possible to delay the case so I wouldn't have my son.
Yeah, it's like that's what they do, because then you keep giving them more money to keep going longer and longer and longer, and they give you false hope for nothing. And so during that whole 9 months, you didn't have phone calls or visits, nothing at all.
I did have phone calls and FaceTime with him because the judge did allow him that. Like he was like, you're gonna have temporary custody, but you have to give her calls. So I was allowed to call him every day, and I did. I used all my lunches breaks or my lunch time to call him. But it's not really a relationship with the 2 year old on camera. Like as a mother, I wanted to be there for him.
And did they give you any opportunity to see him in Germany while he was stationed there?
No, he wasn't allowing me until I literally gave him no choice. And when I received my citizenship, you can travel to Europe without being sponsored with your American passport. So as soon as I got that, I booked a flight and I was like, I went there against his will. But he ended up letting me see him just 2 hours a day, 3 days. And that's because I talked to his military supervisor about it, and she was like, listen, she came from very far away. I understand her as a mother. She hasn't seen her son in so long. Please let her just see him. And that way he accepted to let me see him. But he wouldn't leave us alone at all. He was just the whole time behind me, walking behind me, observing every step. He didn't let me bring him to my Airbnb at the beginning. He didn't let me take him anywhere other than what he approved.
And so you think that if his superior didn't tell him, hey, let her see him, let her spend some time, he would have just said no?
Oh yeah, he wasn't letting me. That's why I called the German police and I called his supervisor because I was like, there's no way. I came all the way from United States to Germany to see my son because I'm literally dying inside. It feels like you're dying. It feels like you lost your son when it's taken from you like that. So I just couldn't bear the pain anymore. And I said, I need to see my son. And I went ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's like you were so desperate to see him that you're willing to fly thousands of miles across the ocean just to, with no guarantee that you were going to see him, but you were just willing to do anything just for to try. And so that shows like you're a good mother. You love your son. You're trying so hard. And the fact that he didn't want to do it until police and supervisors got involved just shows that like he only cares about what everyone else thinks. If everybody else said, oh, forget it, don't let her see the baby, he would have said no. But because they said, hey, you should let her, he would have sounded like a bad guy if he said no. And is it accurate that like during that time in Germany he was on active duty?
Yes, yes. He was on active duty the whole time. So somebody
And he's in
else.
the, what was
Hmm.
he in, the army or the Marines? What is he in?
He's in the Air Force.
And so during that whole time when he's in active duty, the court thought that it was better for a 2-year-old to be in another country with, I'm guessing, a babysitter all day rather than being with his own mother because they didn't care that the dad was going to be working. Did that get brought up in court?
Exactly. And he had, I believe, four babysitters, four different.
Wow.
And then I was in the United States trying to work three jobs and figuring out lawyers and court appointments. And the bills were very high. So I had to work a main job and then do more because a guarding ad litem's gotta be paid, the lawyer's gotta be paid. Every time he said I needed to be tested, just because he wanted me to, it was $500, and I also was paying rent and all that I needed to pay for myself. And I was like, I'm running out of money, and this doesn't seem to be the resolution anytime. It should be a quick resolution because that whole time as moms, we are being traumatized and tortured, and it's a big pain. You can't focus on your job. You don't want to go out. You feel guilty about even doing something for fun. So it's like being tortured. So they should think about that.
Yeah, and you have an older daughter as well, right?
Correct. So she's been suffering this whole time to be separated from him so suddenly. And they were so close together. And one day
And
he's gone.
the court didn't think that it was good to keep the two siblings together.
I guess not. They just went ahead and did whatever my ex wanted. And they didn't think about me. They didn't think about my daughter. They didn't think about my family on my side of the family. They only thought about my ex, what he wanted, and that's it.
And did your ex ever get in trouble, or did your any of your lawyers ever bring up that he lied in his affidavit? Because lying under oath is a felony. So did the judge care when you proved that he lied?
He basically acknowledged it. He basically said, I can see that he committed fraud by obtaining custody. But he said it's already been too long. He said that he already had status quo, meaning because he took him to Germany and then my lawyer didn't do much for 9 months. Those 9 months he was building status quo. So by the time everything was investigated and everything was cleared out, they're like, oh yeah, he lied, but guess what? It's been too long and we have to think about the child. The child is already being used to him. So now we have to reintroduce you slowly. And he had him in another state. So I knew that what they were planning is to transfer the case over there and just give me summers and holidays. So because he didn't want 50-50, he tells everybody that he offered me 50-50. It's not truth. I offered him 50-50, and he was like, "No, because how's that going to work with the school year? I want the school year, so I got to have most of the custody and you get summers and every other holiday. Like I'm not going to be able to accept that as a mother." I even told him I can move closer to you and we can both be in his life. And when he was in Germany, I told him before I even knew he was going to want full custody. I offered him I can go to Germany every 3 months and bring you Evan over there. So I was always very cooperative with him. I always included him, never denied him anything, even though he was not on the birth certificate. I would take time off from work. Sometimes I'll quit jobs just to be able to bring it to his family in Ohio so they could spend time with him. I'm always very family oriented. So I don't understand why suddenly they just wanted to put me in a corner, take the child, and it's like bye bye. You, we don't want you here.
Yeah, and it's like the attorneys that you had clearly did not have your best interest in mind. If the judge said on the record that they acknowledge that he committed fraud, and then they're trying to say, well, now it's the status quo, that's absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable. And any good lawyer would have appealed that immediately. Did you ever try going through the appeals process in South Carolina?
No, because basically when you give the money to the lawyer, you you think they're working for you and they're doing everything. I don't know what because he got me sometime with my son, vacation time. So we were getting there, but I knew I wasn't gonna get back the full custody like I had because basically the judge said it's too late. He's already, but that was only 9 months. So I had him for 2.5 years, and then he comes and has him for 9 months, and suddenly the child is more used to him than me. Like I birthed him, so I didn't understand that statement, but it seems like everything was always working for my ex ways. Everything, he always gets away with everything.
Do you think that because he's in the military that he used his military connections to pull strings? Because I definitely see it definitely seems like legally, based on everything that happened in your case, that there was never grounds to take him like that. And that as soon as they realized that, they didn't have to wait 9 months to change something. You could have gotten him back after a week, after 30 days. And the fact that they let it drag on to then turn around and say, well, now it's too late. We're going to keep it like this and you got to work your way back. It's like this is the scam that they do for people. They'll say it's temporary, but it's never temporary.
Yep.
So at
That's
what point did you start to get more time with him? At what point did they start letting you have more time?
Yeah, so when my second lawyer gathered all the proof and was showing proof of all the lies, then they were like, "Oh, we need you to go to reunification." And I did that. Every time I did reunification, I had to travel 14 hours to Ohio and 14 hours back.
Oh
That
my
meant
God.
I also had to pay Airbnbs, rent a car, go in my car, or fly. It depends on how much time I had and how much money I wanted to spend. But usually I would spend $3,000 in a week and like nothing just to go see Evan. They asked me to do one reunification. And then after that reunification, the therapist was like, I see some rejection from him towards you. And I'm like, yeah, probably because he's been away for 9 months. And she put that on the report. And she said that because of that, she was suggesting more reunifications, and she made that recommendation to the judge, and they allowed it. Now they wanted 6 reunifications, so that's 6 weekends that I have to take from work, fly from South Carolina, go to Ohio just for a session, and all that time, all I get is an hour with Evan, just
That's
1 hour.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like if they had just given him to you and said, "Here, take him for 2 weeks." He would have been comfortable after the first day. He literally would get used to it and he would immediately remember being with mommy and his sister and his home and his toys and all of his stuff. But how is he supposed to be comfortable in some reunification camp with some therapist lady that he doesn't know that's probably charging you $800 an hour for their services? And the fact that the court kept ordering more and more, this is what, when people say it's all a racket, it's all a scam, because that's how they make their money. If you guys made an agreement and you signed it and you went home and everybody was happy, there's no money to be made. And it's like they only make money by dragging these things on. And they know, like, a good mom like you will be so desperate, you'll be willing to spend any amount, you'll fly any distance, you'll do anything it takes. And then they take advantage of that. They say, oh, charge her. The lawyers, they come in like sharks. They want the retainers. As soon as they get the retainer, they don't do any work. You get in your court after 9 months, you finally get reunification, drug tests, this, that. If imagine if you couldn't afford it, then they'd say, oh, sorry, you can't get Evan, sorry. And meanwhile, like you said, you're missing him, his sister is. And even like under federal law, it says that siblings are required to have a minimum of 1 hour per week with each other, and biological parents 1 hour a week minimum. So when you go 9 months with nothing, or like whatever they were doing, it's not even the minimum under federal law. So after you spent all this time and money and lawyers, like what was what did it eventually become? Where did you guys eventually get a schedule where you had joint custody again?
So for the first time ever, they said you can have him for Thanksgiving break, which is about, it was about a week. And I'm so excited. This is the first time I'm gonna have him many nights in a row, many days in a row after basically a year and 3 months. And so I was super happy. I scheduled a cruise for him and my daughter for 8 days. And when I was in the cruise, I realized I was like, I'm going to have to return him back to Ohio. And then from Ohio, I'm going to have to go back to South Carolina, and the cruise is going back to Florida. So that's a lot of flights, or, trying to schedule how to return him back. And I asked him, can I please have 2 days, 2 more days out of the agreed time so I can get him on time? Just 2 days. I haven't had him in a year and 3 months. Just this is all I'm asking. And of course, he said no. Him on the seventh day. Said, of course not. You gotta return him back on the seventh day. So I got off the cruise and I said I'm gonna have to see what I'm gonna do to be back on time. So when I was in my country, I was like, I can't with this evilness. Like, I'm literally only asking for 2 days, but I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. And I got off in Dominican Republic. I have some siblings and I have some family. So I start visiting them because I still have some days. I got off the ship in the second day. So I had a lot of days even to to be on vacation even, and I can still be back on time. So I start visiting family and friends, and it just felt so nice to be here and with both of my kids. And I saw how Evan was like really skinny and how he was having bruises and stuff over there in the United States. I said, I'm gonna stay home. I said I'm gonna stay home with the kids because here I can give them a better life. Ken is not gonna be alienating me from my babies, and they're gonna grow up together. And I'm gonna protect my son. He's not being very well taken care of. There's no way I'm gonna be able to return him back to where he was. But that got me in a lot of trouble because as soon as I didn't return him back, he went to the court and he said that I wasn't there, and then he got me the Interpol and he got me the FBI looking for me.
Before you got disconnected, you were saying that um, after you didn't return him right away, your ex immediately initiated things with the FBI and Interpol. And did he report Evan missing as missing?
Yeah, he reported him as missing, and they all started looking for me, and I just panicked. I got really scared. Imagine seeing you like that you're wanted by the FBI when you're just being a mom, and you just want to be you just want to fill the role of being a mother, and it's like you're being a criminal because you're trying to protect your kids. So I got really scared and I was like,
Exactly.
there's no way I can go back now because then I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble if I set any food in the United States.
So you were afraid to go back at that point, and you felt safer being in DR, and you have a lot of family there, right? And you have a supportive
Yes.
family, a big family, right? So everybody
Yes.
was
And I
happy to
also
help
have
the children.
yes. And also my daughter, if I go back, who's gonna take care of my daughter? She only has me. So it's like sometimes by chasing and keep fighting for in courts for my son, it affects my daughter because every harm that he wants to do to me, it goes to my daughter as well. If he puts me in jail over there, he's not thinking about my daughter without a mom. He doesn't care. He's not thinking about Evan without a mom because he thinks his girlfriend is there. You there?
Yeah, you
Did
said
I
because
cut out?
he's not thinking of Evan. Yeah, you said he's not thinking of Evan not having a mom because his girlfriend. He's expects his girlfriend to basically pretend to be the mom.
Yeah, and it's confirmed because that's what he was doing when he brought him from Germany to Ohio. She basically took over. So he would be in the apartment 14 hours with the girlfriend, sometimes even go visit the parents of the girlfriend. While me, I wasn't allowed to see my son because they were during custody investigation. So that's what he would use to say that I wasn't allowed to see him yet because of the court procedures.
And so, um, during this time, like when right before you left, did you have some like did was there joint custody in place at the on the day that you left for the cruise, or what was the custody technically on that day?
So I had just been given joint custody.
You had just been given joint custody prior to Thanksgiving when you had the week of visit with him unsupervised for the whole week.
Yes.
And so you worked pretty hard trying to show the court that everything that he had said to take the custody from you was based on lies. You spent all this money and time on lawyers. You went through all the things they asked you to do. You jumped through all those hoops. And finally, they gave you back joint custody and a bunch of time for the holidays. So it's not like when you left, you didn't have custody. You had custody just the same as him. And his name wasn't on the birth certificate, correct?
No, it wasn't. It's
And
still
you
not
had
it.
his and so you were able to go just with his travel documents, and you were able to go on the cruise and enter in DR and with all of his documents, and it was no problem, right?
Yeah, it was no problem. And I was planning on going back, but even if I went back, I was going to be late and he was going to get me in trouble no matter what.
So instead of just letting you have a day or two to travel to make it easier, he was rather call the FBI, start a manhunt, and make all these crazy drama and accusations when in reality, he knows that your son was safe with you. And it's not like you were hurting him. And I know you mentioned that you said he lost a lot of weight, he had bruises. Did the courts or the police do anything about the abuse? Did they look the other way whenever you brought up all the concerns about abuse?
Yes, every time I would show proof to the guardian ad litem, Leslie Armstrong, every time she would just look the other way. She wouldn't include it on the. Every time we'll go to court, she wouldn't talk about my proof. She would only talk about the dad side. And it would be like, oh, he said that the kids were watching inappropriate content in the iPad. We couldn't prove that, so that is debunked. So she would be talking in neutral or either on favor from him, like, oh, I can see that in his apartment in Ohio, everything looks nice, everything looks great. I don't see any concern. So I'm like, okay, but that doesn't mean I'm not, they shouldn't give me time back, you know?
Would
So
she comment? Would she say something about your apartment? Did she go see your place?
yeah, she went and saw my place and I never saw the report for that.
So when she would go to
And
court, she would say things about him, but then she would not say the same for you and just only tell the judge things about him that were
exactly.
good.
Yes. And then she wouldn't brought out the pictures of the baby with the big bump here or the black eye or scratches. Like she would just not bring it up.
And would you ever ask your ex where did these bruises come from and ask him about it?
Yeah. So one of them happened at the babysitter's house. And the other one, he said he wasn't sure, but he thinks it might have been his cousin that hit him when he had the black eye. But he said he wasn't there, so he can't confirm. And the other ones, he would just brush them off like, oh, that was probably playing.
So it seems like a lot of this was happening while he was with babysitters, and people that your ex was leaving him with while he was not letting you see him. So it's like he leaves him
Mm-hmm.
with people that are either not watching him properly or flat out abusing him. And then instead of being with you where it's like you're wishing and begging to see him, he's dumping him off with a babysitter, but then he's saying you can't see him. Like that makes no sense. And the fact that the court allowed that and didn't see that as a red flag just shows that this whole time that this court's been railroading you and violating your rights and trying to play you.
Yep. Basically served him as a surrogate, and now I have no part in my baby's life. He won't answer my calls. He won't let me see him. I show you the conversation. He says that because we're in the middle of custody, he's not gonna let me see him or call him.
So let's go back to when you had custody, you were on the trip, you decided to go stay with the family for a little bit, and then he called the police, whatever he did, you stayed with them for a while, and then when did he figure out that you were in DR? Did you end up telling him after a while?
Yeah, he knew I was in DR because when the Interpol and the FBI were trying to locate me, they got a notification from the crew saying that I never got in back. So he knew because of the investigations. But I sent him pictures. I let Evan call him when Evan wanted, and he never lost contact with me. But one day, 2 weeks before school, my both of my kids were kidnapped from here from the parking lot. And somehow through the Hague Convention, he moved some contacts and have them take my son from here. And not only did they take my son, they also took my daughter and put both of them in foster care while we went to courts here in Dominican Republic.
So so if he knew that you went to Dominican Republic and if the FBI and Interpol actually was looking for you, why didn't they come and get you? Do you think that maybe he lied to the FBI or he lied to the police and he made it seem worse than it was? Because if it's something simple like custodial interference, that's not like a type of charge that would get you on Interpol. You know, usually it's for serious crimes. So unless he told them you kidnapped him, but if you had custody at the time under international law and even under the Hague, you didn't. It doesn't seem like there would be any grounds for them to do that. So now you were there about 9 months. Your kids were really accustomed to it, and talk about the status quo. The new status quo was that they were happy, they were adjusting, and they were in school. They went to school.
Yeah, they were signed up in
Okay.
school,
So they were
and
about to start the next year, and then you were home with the children, and then you guys were getting ready to go out, and then what happened? Like your kids were outside playing with the other kids from the neighborhood. You ran in the house for a minute to grab your keys. You came out, and what happened?
they basically took them against their will. The officials over here, they didn't knock on my door. They didn't leave me no warrants. They basically came, snatched them, and left without
So
telling
when
me
you came
nothing.
outside, so you went inside to grab your keys or your purse. You were going to take the kids out. You come out, the kids are gone. Who told
Gone.
you that they were taken? Did the neighbor then tell you that they were taken?
Yes, all the neighbors that were there, they were like alarmed. They were, oh my gosh, the vehicle just took them like that. It was so fast, we couldn't do nothing. And so when they told me that, I went to the police over here to figure out like who kidnapped them, what happened. They told me they didn't know anything about it. And when I was there, an hour after I was there, my neighbor was like, "There's somebody here that wants to give you some paperwork." And when I came back, I saw the paperwork, and it was citing me the next day to go to court here in Dominican Republic. But I didn't say anything about where my kids were or if they took them. But I was like, that's probably it. But why did they take my daughter? My daughter's not even his daughter, you know? It was all messed up.
Yeah, and the fact that they would like snatch the kids off the street without even saying a word to you, or and then after you went to the police, then all of a sudden they come and bring papers. Like they bring the papers after, and usually in those type of proceedings, it's the standard that the children are supposed to stay with the mother during the whole court process. They're not supposed to take them away. And the fact that they just had like, I think you posted some videos, it was like looked like just like a big black SUV, an unmarked car. Like, did it even say police, or it was just like a blacked out SUV?
No, just a blacked out SUV. Yes.
And it was like circling around in the neighborhood all day.
The
Was it
whole
like
day. The
stalking you
whole
guys
day.
all day?
Yes, and it's
And
because
it
when they
waited.
brought me those paperwork, they didn't have permission to take the kids or do none of the stuff they did. So that's why they had to wait until a vulnerable time for them to do it illegally. So that way they wouldn't miss a chance.
Yeah, it almost seems like your ex thought that he was going to be able to use the FBI and Interpol to force you guys to come back and do all that. And then as soon as he realized that legally he couldn't do anything, he then decided to do it the illegal way, because in no country in the world do they have international procedures to snatch the kids off the street when the mom's not looking. No country in the world says, let's wait until mom goes inside and then we'll grab the kids and leave. That's 100% not the way that DR is supposed to do it. That's 100% not the way that you're supposed to do it with Hague, with the United States. And there's so many laws that they broke, international laws and Dominican law. So you believe that your ex may have paid somebody off or used corrupt political influence or military influence to get them to break the law?
Absolutely. Yes, there was a lot of influence, a lot of contacts made, and he had to pay out some money because the way they were helping him here, everyone, and they didn't want to see my side of the story, my proof, nothing. They were all basically they were basically working for him. And that was everybody that seen my case, they're like, there's something going on there. That's not even normal. And the prosecutor of my case, he got her back with lice on her hair. So I had to do a few treatments to get it all out. And she came back with an infection in her private parts. So I had to take her to the doctor, and we got some soap for her. And hopefully, thankfully, everything went away. But it's like she didn't even need it to be there. But then she's returned to me back, and was uh, she was taken against her will. That completely traumatized her. She told me she was already forgetting about my face for those 2 weeks. It's like, Mommy, where were you? I was forgetting about your face. It's like I wanted to call you so bad, but they didn't let me talk to you. She said that she was forgetting about my face, and I told her that I wanted to talk to her so bad, but they didn't let me because she was in a special camp.
And so they had both kids in the same camp, like even though they're not both girls, they were both in the same camp.
They were in the same facility, but at nights, she would sleep with the girls and he would sleep with the boys.
So it's like this big camp facility where all of these kids who are in foster care go, and they split them up like that.
Yep. And they don't have a lot of sanitary concern, like they don't have a lot of sanitary procedures, because if she came back like that, it's because it's dirty in there.
Yeah, and like I've heard horror stories about abuse and neglect and trafficking and crazy stuff happening, and it's called Konani, right?
Yes, Konani. That's
And that's
right.
and are they known for being corrupt over
Yes,
there?
the other day they just fired everybody in that facility because of um complaints about abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, everything you said. So just the other day, they had to empty out the whole thing.
Wow. And that's
Hmm.
crazy. Like, especially like, if your daughter came home with an infection and stuff, it's like the first thing I think is like, what if something happened? What if she was harmed? And it's like, what if they told her, don't say anything, and scared her and traumatized her? And it's like, she's so young. And the fact that now these people are all getting fired, maybe you should, try to look into those ones who got fired and look deeper into that, because that's crazy. She was not even she had nothing to do with any of this. And I feel like for them to say like, oh, we have to keep the children together because they're siblings, but then to rip them apart from each other. And didn't you say that like the day before the decision that your son was already removed?
No, the same day of the decision, when they were typing it out that they were giving it, my ex wasn't there already. He had been gone. He knew that he could go and pick him up. And so
So
me, I was allowed to get my daughter the next day. So he got my son the same day of the final hearing. And when they gave the decision, he wasn't there. He was already picking him up. And me, I was able to pick up my daughter the next day. She told me she got so sad that day that Evan left because she stayed in that facility one more day alone. And even though there were other friends, she was like, I didn't understand that he left and they left me in there. And then I don't know, where's him? Where can I call him? She asked for him every day. And I tried to call for her and he won't answer.
that's so terrible. Like, poor thing. Like, she was probably so scared and felt so alone. And then he probably was scared. And I think you posted some pictures after him back with his dad, and his eyes are all puffy. Looks like he's been crying. Looks sad. And it's like just terrible. I mean, he seemed so happy with you guys. Like when he was with you and his sister, he seems like happy, peaceful, healthy. And it's like clearly you take care of your kids. You give them everything they need. Your kids never look like their hair is always brushed, like they're always put together. And for them to do this is unacceptable. And it's crazy how this kind of corruption is so blatant that even you got so much media attention. Every news channel in DR was posting your story and you were going viral, but it still didn't help. They still were able to do this and get away with it.
Yep, he always gets away with it. He's got the perfect connections and the perfect motivation, which is to hurt me. And that really makes him really happy when I lose my job, when I have to find a retainer for lawyers, when I don't have time with my son, when me and my daughter Evelyn are crying for him. It's almost like he enjoys all of that so much and he will just keep going until there's nothing left else to do.
He sounds like an evil person. And I think that one day Evan is going to realize quickly who his father really is. And maybe he can put on this face for the courts and for, his military people and everybody else, and act like he's this great dad and this nice dad. But behind closed doors, that's when the real person comes out. And somebody who can watch somebody else suffer and take pleasure to see somebody else in pain is like a sick, twisted sociopath that's dangerous. And I'm so sorry that all of this happened. And it's like, if they had followed international law, you would have got due process. You would have been allowed to stay with your kids the whole time, and they wouldn't have been able to just steal him in the middle of the night and take him out of the country like that. And even if you had kept the kids with you and they gave a decision to return him to the US, you could have then appealed it and still kept the kids with you while you filed an appeal and continued to go through the legal process.
Took
But
him right away, so I wouldn't have time to
yeah,
do anything.
exactly. And like that's probably why they didn't let you speak to the kids, because also I did a little bit of reading and it said that Konani is supposed to first, they're supposed to see if there's any family that will take the kids. You said you have a huge, supportive, loving family. Did any of them get asked to take the kids or offered, or no? They wouldn't let him.
No, no, they wouldn't let us even see us or talk to the kids. Nobody in my family either.
Yeah, so it's like the prosecutor, the police, the Konani, possibly even people from the US, all of these people seemed like they worked together to make this scheme to steal him back because they knew that legally, by law, there was no way that they could get him back because for him to go through the Hague was improper. He's trying to say that you wrongfully left, but you didn't. You had custody. You didn't meet that criteria to like kidnap or something, right? So he lied from everything he filed. The first paper he filed to take him out, away from you, he lied. Whatever he said to the FBI to get you on Interpol, he lied. Whatever he said now to the American embassy to the Hague, he lied. And maybe it came down to at the end of the day, they said, "Hey, pay us this much money, and we'll give you, we'll make it happen." Because what they did was super illegal. And imagine if imagine if you never left the kids out of your sight. What were they going to do? Sit there and wait every day and stalk you every day until you did leave? Maybe they were watching you for more than a day. It's like it's scary because it's like they hunted you guys down. That's not legal. They can't do that. And like you're a citizen of Dominican Republic. Your children have the right to be citizens by blood. So as dual citizens, they are protected by both countries. And the fact that nobody cares about the kids, it's all about what does the husband want? What does the dad want? Okay, we'll give him what he wants. It's like, does anybody ever think to ask what does the kid want? No.
Yeah, and it's like my kids are still small, 4 and 6. You would think that they will respect the role of the mother, and none of them look out for my kids to have their mother in their life. Every decision is done just to satisfy my ex in the military's needs, and there's no reason for him. And what he does is he talks so much bad stuff about me just to get his way, and he always does. And then when it's proven that it's not truth, then it's too late.
And so it's like I don't understand if they're going to play along with what the court said, how can they say that it's okay for you to keep your daughter, but it's not okay for you to keep your son if you had custody of both of them at the time you left? Both of them left at the same time in the same way. How is it that one of them can stay and the other one can't? Did they give a reason for that? Because you had joint custody for both kids, didn't you?
Yes. So yeah, and the judge even said made a comment here on the final decision saying that I was to be returned my daughter immediately because she was okay with me and she was in a family oriented environment. So she even said that on the comments of the paper. But it's like, what about my son? My son was in the same environment she was. So why is he going with his
Yeah,
dad?
exactly. You know what that is? That's the judge trying to make his order seem legit. He wants to make it seem like, oh, this is the legal reason why I did this, this, and this. But like you said, if you have half a brain, you can realize that it's fraud. And whatever judges and prosecutors and police and all these people needs to be in prison. And they deserve to be in prison. And so, I would say if it takes getting a lawyer, I know sometimes like you can't get things done unless you get a lawyer, but if you have to get a lawyer to go after these people who did this to you, then do it, because you know what? They shouldn't be able to sleep at night peacefully knowing that this little boy is possibly getting abused. Your poor daughter is now going to be growing up missing her brother for no reason and isolated from her, and it's like it's crazy. And now it's been what, like 2 weeks? How long has it been since they took him?
They took him on August 14.
So it's been like 11 days.
Yeah, it was a week before starting school and a week before my birthday.
I'm sorry. And is he in school? Is he going to be in kindergarten or preschool?
He was gonna be here in it's called kinder, not kindergarten, but before kindergarten is kinder.
Mm-hmm.
So he was be here in that class, but I had to return everything, his boots, his uniform, everything.
And what about in the US? Do you know if he signed him up for school?
No, he won't because they start later over there. They start at 6 years old.
So he'll probably just have him with a babysitter or whatever, his
With the girl,
girlfriend.
yeah, with the girlfriend, because she
It's
doesn't work.
it's just crazy. It's like he doesn't even want to be a father. He just doesn't want you to have your son. Like,
Yeah, and after so much episodes and so much trauma and dealing with this, I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it to God because you invest so much energy in this. It basically absorbs your life, but it comes to a point where it starts affecting you emotionally and in your health. So it's like I'm gonna have to move on somehow. I can't be fighting so much with this person that's just not looking in the kid's best interest. When somebody doesn't want to negotiate and it's just doing things to harm you, you get tired and you say, but maybe I should step out because then I'm going to get hurt.
yeah. And you know what? Like, I told you how I lost Angelina in 2023 because I had reported abuse happening at her dad's house. The corrupt court and judge said I lied and they forcibly took her away from me. But when that first happened, from May of 2023 until March 2024, that's like 9 months, 10 months, I had sole custody of Juliana, but supervised visits only when the dad says of Angelina. So, like, it was kind of like how you are now, where you only have one of your children and you're being like severely isolated from the other child. And so, like, every time, like, every day, I just I was so overwhelmed with the paperwork and the stress and everything, and I just wanted to like cry and go crawl under a rock. But it's like then I would see my daughter Juliana and I'm like, I have to stay strong for her. I still have to cook her dinner and give her a bath and do her homework with her and all that stuff. So I think, like, having your daughter with you is good because you have to you could stay strong for her, and it's going to help you to keep that bond strong with her. And otherwise you'd be by yourself, you'd be so sad. So, like, the fact that you have her, just remember, like, she needs you to be strong. And even if you want to cry and feel sad, like, just tell her you're going to go to the bathroom and go in the bathroom and cry so she doesn't see mommy being upset, because the more she sees you being strong, the more she'll be strong. And I think that, like, as time goes by, especially if maybe some of these people get arrested or in trouble, the ones that mishandled your case in DR, maybe things can turn around. Maybe then down the road, there could be an opportunity for you to file a petition to have him returned, because that's what the Hague is actually for: wrongful retention. He was wrongfully brought to the United States away from his habitual residence in DR. DR, after 6 months, became his home. So them to steal him from his home and bring him somewhere that's not his home violates international law. So, I think right now, like, you just have to focus on being strong and getting, healthy and, like, mentally stable in a good spot where you feel like you can be okay. And then down the road, maybe there might be things that you can pursue. But I think it's good that you're trying to take care of yourself, because all of this stress, it's horrible for your health. And just being able to just have peace right now and enjoy the time you have with your daughter and make it as peaceful as possible, I think that will help you, like, get through it.
That's right. Thank you so much.
No problem. And you know what? Like, you're a great mom. Like, and I think I saw thousands of people commenting on all these videos on all the news in DR, and every single person was like, I know that girl since she was little. She's an excellent
Oh,
mother, good family. Like, I didn't see a single negative comment about you at all. None. Not even from the US. And so I think that people can understand the difference between a real dangerous situation and a mom who's just trying to protect her kids. So I think that you did the right thing to try to protect your son, and you clearly will do anything possible to take care of your kids, and that's what a real mother does. So don't give up. I think you are going to get him back, and these monsters are not going to get away with this because the world is watching. You got people in the United States, you got the DR, you got people all over the world watching, and I think that that's what you can keep doing is sharing updates, posting, speaking up, keep going on more podcasts and news channels and continue to speak up, because the only way these people get away with things is when people are silenced. They want us to be silent. So keep being loud, because your son is going to be able to see one day, wow, look at all this that my mom did for me. Look how she never stopped fighting for me. And even now, in your heart, you're still fighting. So he's going to know that, and he can feel that too. And just keep praying that, things will work out, and it will. You have the truth, you have God, you have so much on your side. He has lies and paying people off. That only lasts you so much. And right now, look at what they're doing over in the States. They're arresting judges, they're arresting cops, they're raiding government officials' houses. So nobody is immune. Just because you're in the military doesn't mean you could do whatever you want. And these people, they might have been getting away with it for a while, but I don't think they're going to get away with it forever, especially because you have like an army of people supporting you. So is there anything that you want to say, maybe in hopes, it's something that maybe you want Evan to know, because I know you never got to say goodbye and you're not being allowed to talk to him. So is there anything you want your son to know?
Yes, I want to tell him that I love him very, very much. That ever since he was born, he just brought a lot of love for me. And I wish I was present every day in his life. And even though it's not possible, he will always have me as his mother. I will always be here for him. And that his sister loves him very much too.
I think he knows that you guys love him, and I bet you anything he's sitting there thinking about you right now. And every time you think about him, he feels it. So just keep sending him that love, keep praying, and don't give up, because a mother's love is the most powerful thing in the world, and nothing is more powerful than a mother's true love. And your son is in survival mode right now. He has to do what he has to do to survive, and he's going to be stronger from this, and everybody is. But whatever you do, don't give up hope. You're amazing mother, and I really honestly wish to see you guys all reunited again for good this time. So just please continue to share updates, continue to stay strong, and get support from your community. Try to get as much support as possible. Maybe even see if there's other mothers out there who had dealt with corruption from the same courts, from the same area, and everybody can share evidence, and maybe you guys can find some more connections. And like they say, there's strength in numbers, and this is like a spiritual war, and everybody can't win by themselves. We all have to help each other little by little. So even if it's getting support from your community, from other mothers, and just being able to have people supporting you, that's going to be huge.
Thank you so much. You've been there for me since day one, and we understand each other. And I appreciate you for bringing me in here and for being an ear towards me and have me highlight my case.
No problem. And I'm always here. If you ever need to talk, you can always call me, and I'm here for you and your kids, and I'm here to support you any way that I can.
Thank you.
So thank you. No problem. Thank you again so much for coming. And I hope you can try to enjoy the rest of your day with your daughter and enjoy the nice weather while you're out there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
I'll see you soon. Bye.